Yeah, my name is Mucunguzi Jonan, and today in the studios I am not alone. I have come with these wonderful gentlemen. One of them is Honorable Ndungu Mugarukani, and the other gentleman is called Mugarukani Simon, and we will be taking you through this program. Now, I will allow them to talk more about themselves, and then we'll start from there, and we begin on the topic of the discussion. Honorable Ndungu, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, and I'm delighted to be at Global Leadership Empowerment to share about leadership in this country and the globe at large.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Simon, you're also welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Jonan, for the invitation to be part of this wonderful show. I'm glad I'm here. So, our dear viewers, stay tuned as we discuss more about this issue. Thank you.
Of course, today our topic of discussion will focus on training and grooming the young people to become potential leaders. We will focus on the importance of training and grooming the young people to become effective leaders. Like we know that the future of the nation is always in the young people. So since these are the future of Uganda, we have to make sure that we prepare them to become more and effective leaders than the leaders we have currently. So we will begin with Mr. Ndungu to explain to us the importance of training this young generation to become potential leaders in the next Uganda or in the next Africa or in the next world. How important it is to train all these young guys who are taking over leadership positions in the near future. Mr. Nobert, you can begin right from there.
Thank you, Jonan, and thank you, our viewers, and everyone else going to watch today and another day, since the program is on a cloud. To start off with leadership, the role of leadership is to be a change maker, to lead people from to transit them from one stage of life or one sphere into another, of course a better one.
Yeah.
But who determines what is better and what is not?
Yeah.
So we leave that to the world, because every society has its own culture, has its own modes of operation, has its own beliefs. So if you're a leader in a specific society, then you need to start looking at who are the people in the society that I intend to lead or I lead. Because we are looking at leaders who are already leaders, and we are looking at people who aspire to be leaders.
Yeah.
So if you aspire to be a leader, then first understand who the people you intend to lead are.
Yeah.
What are they made of? What do they believe in? What is their culture? What is their trade?
Yeah.
You know, what influences them? Where do they come from? Where are they? Where are they going? You know, they're pastoralists. You find them here today, the next day.
Yeah.
Until one leader came up and said, you know what? Enough of moving with cattle.
Yeah.
Settle in one place and improve and invent other ways of feeding cattle rather than moving to look for what? For pasture.
Yeah.
But before then, pastoralists were constantly moving.
Yeah.
So as a leader, you need to identify the society that you want to lead. It can be a society that you're going to. It can be a society that you're born into.
Yeah.
Leadership falls in so many categories. You can lead business people. You can lead a culture, a domination of a tribe.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example. You can lead a business. You can lead soldiers who whatever they do is already written in ink.
Yeah.
You can lead a group of other people who whatever they do depends on the circumstance or the environment they trade into. So the leadership comes in different modes. So the training is important.
Yeah.
Because it's going to make sure it enlightens the people who are going into leadership to mold them in a way that are going to lead successfully. Because you can be a leader and you fail in leadership. You can be a leader and you successfully lead.
Yeah.
So for example, when Constantine was fighting, he was leading a big army.
Yeah.
But as a leader, he devised ways of making sure he wins his battle.
Yeah.
He won and he left a legacy. Then some other people came and also fought against what he had created.
Yeah.
And it didn't become history, but then change, because leadership is about change. Leaders are change makers. So it's all about identifying the challenges and changing the situation to take away the challenges.
Yeah, thank
so
you so
we need
much.
to prepare the young people to make sure that they are ready for those tasks, because we live in a dynamic environment. So the leaders also need to have the dynamism into them.
Thank you so
very
much. Mr. Simon, we are looking at an issue whereby if one is to become a doctor, they pass through school for some good time and they are trained for that specific role. When one is to become a teacher, the same process. So if one is to become a leader, is it important to train them first for the role they are going to play, or it is unnecessary?
Thank you once again. A leader, I think it's not a profession. Being a leader is a choice.
Yes.
And you just wake up, you feel like I can lead people in a certain direction. By the way, people always don't give a clear difference between a leader and maybe a manager or a politician.
Yeah.
In my own understanding, I think a leader is a person who has followers. You convince people understand you and follow you in either the right direction according to your objectives and aims, or to a negative way. But you have followers who believe in you. So your question was, do you need to go into a training? No, maybe training may come later on, but after that person has realized himself or herself that he's a leader or she's a leader. So then they start grooming themselves. How? First of all, a leader should be a reader. A leader should be a listener. So if you can't read, if you can't listen, and you don't have role models who inspire you, you can never lie to us that you are a leader. You need to be learning from people and yearn to be like them. So in that process, you're learning. In that process, you need not be in classes that you're learning leadership skills, but when I'm in this talk show, I'm learning a lot from my brother Norbert. I'm learning from the moderator, and I'm learning from the outside environment. So it's not necessary to be training for a profession, but it's training from the things from the things surrounding us. That's when you're what I was saying earlier on. People, let's say like managers. Managers will look at something that is on the table that needs an immediate solution. It will call for a manager to solve it there and then. But a leader now will inspire you, convince you, and do it you yourselves from a leader.
Yeah.
But it's not, manager will instruct you, but a leader does not instruct you.
Yeah.
A leader convinces and you do what you're supposed to do. So I think there's no need of training, like you have to go in classes, but it's a mandate of that leader to learn, to look for ways how to learn, engage with others, get inspiration from others. That's the way you're learning, but it's not like you have to have classes for leadership. It's not.
Now, Mr. Norbert, I think we all believe that we are born leaders, or that deep inside ourselves is the capacity to lead. In each specific areas, we are gifted differently. Now, we know that in every seed there is a tree. There is a tree that comes out of every seed. But for that tree to manifest, there must be an environment for growth. The seed must be put into the soil. It must get some nutrients, so then it can germinate and bring out what it has on the inside. Now, similarly, we as the people, since we have that leadership potential within ourselves, how best can we develop it or cultivate it so we can manifest who we are and what we are?
Thank you, Jonan. Before I answer, let me first go to what Mugarukani said. He's talking about you see, leadership comes in so many forms.
Yeah.
There's political leadership.
Yeah.
And there's the natural organic leadership. He also talked about having followers. That to be a leader you have to have followers. There's the spiritual leadership, and there's the managerial or economic leadership. So if leadership is in so many forms and at all stages in life, there's leadership. As long as there's someone leading others, it doesn't matter if it's 1 people or it's 100 or it's 1 million or 1 billion. But as long as you're in front, you're directing people, changing them from 1 second or one position to another, you're a leader. Even children, my children who are in P2, P1 are already leaders. So the following you're talking about, there's already a given following, and there's a following that you gather. So for example, Jesus went gathering followers. The kings we have, let's say the Omugabe of Ankole, does not need to have a following. He has the subjects are already in place. So you don't need to go convincing people to follow you, because you're born a leader. So you talk just about leadership. You're either born a leader or you're made a leader. So when you're born a leader, for example, if you go in 2 kingdoms, when you're the first, if you're in line of kingship, automatically you're born a leader. It's not that mean that you're going to be the next, but you're also a leader in the eyes of some other people. You being the prince, you're a leader, even if you're not the king. So as we go down in hierarchy, there's leadership at all levels. Even a captain leads a certain battalion, even a major general. So don't think that the only leaders are the commanders. Even the commanders have sections. So you find that even you as an individual, you're your own leader. Because if you mislead yourself and eat the wrong food, you mislead yourself and take the wrong drinks, you mislead yourself and take the wrong direction, indulge yourself in the wrong peers, then you're misleading yourself. So leadership starts from an individual. You don't have to have a following to be a leader. At the end of the day, you have to lead yourself first. That's why the government or some institutions emphasize that if you're not married, you cannot take up certain leadership positions in institutions. Some schools, for example, that I'm sure about in the Western region, if you're not married, they will give you some good years, they say 2 or 3, and say we are giving you this window period to get married so that you can be able to teach, for example. So if you don't manage that, that's why they say also, if you go now into our culture, a man, if they say for a man, if you can manage a family, then you can manage a country. Because when you go to our vernacular culture, they tell you positions on bed where a man is supposed to sleep and a woman is supposed to sleep. So a man as a leader of the home, as head of the home, is supposed to sleep towards the exit, towards the danger, so that you protect the woman. So already and now, what a woman needs from a man is the ear. So as long as the man can be able to convince the wife and the wife to listen to him, then equally he will move out of the bedroom and convince the children. If the children manage to listen to him, he goes convincing. But the moment you fail to convince your household, it's going to be very hard to convince the bigger population. So even to start with you as an individual, you need to first lead yourself, right? Because you're setting an example. As a leader, you set an example. So there's no way God is going to help you be a better leader if you do not introspect and be a better leader to yourself first.
Thank you so much. Now, Mr. Simon, back to you. When does one become a leader? When you begin to gain followers, or you are already a leader even without followers?
I told you later on that becoming a leader is a choice. You dream. So after dreaming of becoming a leader, then you start putting strategies. How am I going to get followers? Because even if you're a leader within you, your inner man is telling you that you're a leader, but you are not convincing anyone. People will not portray you as a leader. You look at you as Jonan, as Simon, but if you start convincing people, and have a number of people believing in you, that's the moment you become a leader. Because take a scenario, you're in a company, you have 2 managers, they all have the same authority. So all of you, you're competing for a promotion, let's say a CEO. Convincing these people that they can believe in you and become their CEO, you have to strategize and people believing. That's what I was saying. Being a leader is having followers. But you can be a leader, you can be having 2 leaders in one position, but people are believing in the other one, and this one is and the other section is believing in this. So they will take the majority, I think, in promotion. If these guys are believing in this one, that he has communication skills, he can put things right, and they believe in you, and your bosses believe in you. That's I think that's when people will categorize you as a leader. Maybe in teamwork, you can be a leader in teamwork, and you can be a leader in school. Like for us, who have been in school leadership, to win in an election, you need to be having a group of people believing in you. Either you're deceiving them, but they believe in you, either you're talking truth and believe in you, and they vote you and become their leader. So I think you become a leader immediately after people have followed you and you have gotten a number, and you can you have good ideas, by the way, which people can believe in and portray you as a leader.
When you say it like that, one will want to ask you, is leadership simply being gathering followers to serve you, or it is about you serving the people? Because if it was about gathering followers, that would mean that your interest is in being served. But if it was for the purpose of serving, then followers would be attracted to you rather than you trying to use your energy to convince people to follow you. So if you had the service that you provide, if we are serving people, the more people you serve, then you would end up influencing them. But I thought that if you went direct to them trying to convince them, eventually you would begin to manipulate them, like you are saying, that you either deceive or speak the truth, but by all means gain followers. I think that might not be a good philosophical ideology when it comes to leadership.
I think you're not understanding my point. What I'm trying to say is...
let us understand each other.
Yeah.
And I want you to forgive Mugarukani. He's into an era where leadership has been absorbed by politicking.
Yeah.
So he has maybe not experienced true leadership. We're talking about leadership in its pure sense, not the leadership of politicking. Politicking is about convincing people, selling an idea to people, whether it works for them or it does not work for them, as long as you've managed to manipulate them. Right now we are in an information age, an information era, where the wars are wars of information. So that's why the kind of leadership we've experienced is where one has to go convincing people that he's a leader. The leadership, you should also, that leadership is also there because of the economic season we are in. Look at the other leadership of like Moses. Did Moses have to convince people to follow him? But Jesus had to convince people to follow him. So those are two different leaders. So don't look at leadership in the sense of rallying up people, you know, because even the way you're looking at it is, I am going to get a job and outcompete people. There is natural leadership of identifying a problem and being led spiritually. Because to be a leader, you're either born a leader or you're chosen to be a leader. So when you're chosen, to some extent you're also born. But now, how are you best going to perform? Because we are all molded differently, we have different characters. So, and leadership is in so many roles, different categories. So, which kind of leader are you, and at what moment are you going to lead?
Yeah,
So
actually,
you shouldn't look at leadership as only rallying up people. Look at leadership that has been handed over to you. You're born, for example, God handed over leadership of yourself to you. Then He also handed leadership of you to your parents. Then handed over leadership of a home to a man. So a man does not have to go to convince the wife and children and workers that I'm your leader. That is automatic. You will not find the houseboy or the driver in a home saying I'm the head of this family. Being head of a family alone, you're a leader. So even in organizations, let me tell you, I'm a consultant. I'm a team leader. So to be a team leader is by qualification. So am I a leader or not? But have I convinced people to follow me? So you should also look at that leadership in terms of professionalism, in terms of skill. So you don't need to gather people to lead them. Automatically by qualification, by experience, by appointment. The president appoints ministers. Does the minister first convince people to follow him, so the president appoint them? So I think
my question is,
Yeah.
when do you realize that you are a leader?
now, I think what we have to understand is that we are always leading and we are always being led. Now, each one of us has the capacity to lead, but in a specific area, in a unique area. Like you would say, anyway, see, like a car has very many parts. So the battery can say that I'm the leader. When I'm not here, there is no power that starts the car. The tires will say, no, I'm the leader because I'm the one who moves. The steering will say, I'm the leader because I'm the one who turns you. So eventually, we begin to ask ourselves, who is the leader in all these parts of the car? So we come out with one solution, that all of these parts are leaders, but in their specific areas. So all of us probably are leaders, that's what we must understand, but in different capacities and in different unique areas. So explain to us whether leadership is about position, or what is your major understanding of leadership?
Thank you once again. I think a leader is not a rank. Leadership is not a rank. It's not a position. It's a dream come true. It's a dream come true. If you've convinced your people, yes, I don't know whether you're understanding my point.
Yeah.
You yourself, you're believing in yourself that I'm a leader. Have been given an assignment, have performed it well, have been appreciated. Meaning, I'm a leader inside, and people are seeing me as if even if I'm given this task with this group of people, we can manage it. So that's when people start realizing that if we are with nobody, there's nothing else, like we need any supervision of what we can do it ourselves. Meaning he's a leader. They have realized it. They have recognized him. He's a leader. But if you're being told, oh, you need to be awakened that hey, time is going, and you are a leader. They believe in you, the captain, but this couple is waking you up. You are being attacked. I think you're not a leader. You're just being reminded that you're one. So it's begin with self-confidence, self-believing in yourself. Then you put in action what you believe in yourself. So if you convince people that yes, you are, and people you have the capacity, and people see the capability and the capacity in you, then you're automatically a leader.
Now, Mr. Nobat, since we have this regime of leaders who are merely occupying leadership positions but not performing as we expected, how do you think we can improve this? In what ways do you think we can strategize such that in the next generation of leaders, we have leaders in positions and yet they understand what they are supposed to be doing in those particular positions?
Have you ever been eating food, then you asking what should I do not to get hungry?
Yeah, of course, like I'm telling you.
I don't understand your question. You're eating food and you again ask someone that what should I do so that I'm not hungry in the next coming hour or the next coming minutes.
The problem that we have.
The answer to your question is what we are doing right now. As Global Leadership Empowerment, we are trying to enlighten people about leadership so that we create a new breed of leaders that understand that leadership is about problem solving, is about service delivery, is about leading people for the better. It's about leaders are change makers. In a positive sense is what you're looking at. There's change in negative sense. You can lead a group of hooligans who are going to go and destroy a church, a mosque, or a market, or kill people. You're leading a group of what? Of hooligans, but that is negative change because you've destroyed. So we want to groom a group of leaders that are going to transform our society positively.
Now, the reason I ask that is because we have people who are probably disoriented, that they have no willingness to learn. Even though we are willing to teach, but there could be people who have no willingness to learn, and yet they are leaders. What do we do on such incidences?
You see, you forgive me, I will give an example of NRM. NRM has created an environment where you can do what you want or what you can. So what we're doing right now is a school that is teaching anyone who is willing to learn. And because it is we are embracing technology, anyone at their moment, whether they are traveling, they can play, and as they drive and listen, people can come and experience. We've been moving to institutions and to places, and people have been coming and we teach them. So the ways of educating or enlightening society are enormous. Now, most people have a calling of leadership. Leadership is a calling to one aspect. Some aspect it is handed over to you. So when it's a calling, you have that urge. You've heard of nyege. You have that you can't resist it. When you see things going wrong, you chip in. Even when you can't afford, you find yourself doing it. So that is leadership. That is inborn. That is when you're born a leader. You'll even make it when everyone thinks that you can't make it. You've had SJ, you've had Tumukunde, you've had Sejusa, say how they've watched Museveni maneuver through situations that they could not believe that you could maneuver through. So you realize that you're gifted to lead. But then some people, even small instances, small challenges, they cannot manage. But it's not they cannot manage anything at all, but take them into other aspects of life. That's why sometimes they say you cannot judge a frog by its inability, let's say, to climb a tree. So everyone needs to identify. First of all, you need to introspect. So as we teach about leadership, we try to open up people's hearts so they can self-discover. So you introspect, you understand, you get a mentor. You talked about mentorship, mentors, they are role models. Some of us have arrived at where we have arrived because of our mentors and role models. But most of my role models, I've never met them. At least I've met my mentors, but I haven't met my role models physically. But they've inspired me at a distance. So leadership, to an extent of changing or trying to make society appreciate the good leadership, we have to keep out doing our part, leading the leaders. Then our time will expire, and then the people we've inspired will also continue doing what we've done. You also had President Museveni last time talking about, when you're talking about Pan-Africanism, they were asking that, oh, you've sung about this over and over and over. We're not seeing change. He said, relax. I've played my It's a continuous process. Most of the civilization we've seen have developed over 400 years, 600 years. Uganda hasn't been here for long, not even 100 years. But we want to compete with civilizations that have been here for 400 years, that have had, for example, in Dubai, the leadership has been there since 1836. The same group of people, from father to uncle to brother to cousin to son. Now, by the time the grandson comes, he has already learned from the grandfather. So he knows what to do and what not to do. He can, their leadership styles. That other person can come with their own leadership style. But they know the tides. They've seen, they've had, because that is the realm they've been into. So we shouldn't worry about the future. We need to play our part right now. And the future, God already planned for it.
Now, Mr. Simon, in as much as we are doing this, preparing the young people, preparing ourselves for leadership positions and all that, don't you think we shall be faced with the problem of these old regime leaders who cannot leave power or who cannot hand over positions, and then you find that we end up dying with our potential, with all our capabilities, because there are people who cannot hand over positions, or who when even they are supposed to retire, they don't want to. So what do you talk about that?
Thank you very much. You see, those who studied history, there's that king. I never studied history, but I read King Louis.
Yeah.
He led Italy of France for 15 years. But when he was out of power, they termed his regime as 15 years of disappointment. We have seen this, even in our districts. I think honorable, we have seen it already in our district. Somebody has been in the office for almost 20 years now, but he's coming. Has already laid strategies of 2026.
So you are here, you are young, energetic and powerful, and you don't have an opportunity. So what do you think would be a solution to that problem?
I think there is no solution to this. The only solution is the ballot box, and of which I don't want to go into politics too much, but
of course you can't avoid it.
I can't avoid it,
and you cannot change what you avoid.
I don't want to attack the government, but I think now where we are going, I think it's hereditary. We are not going to look at nobody as somebody who is, even if we the voters we see him as having the potential, but the mafia's up will not allow us to do so. We've witnessed this in the recent elections. Our neighboring district, Chirhura, this happened. In KAZO itself, the recent elections, it happened. So even though we fight hard to bring these young people on board, if at all it's not sort of up there, we are lying ourselves. So in this regard, I think we need to create a system. Maybe, I don't know whether this after this government or when, like, it's, I don't know how I'm going to explain this. But
I can help Mugarukani.
But let me conclude. But it's very hard for us to come up because we have been left behind. We have not been engaged. But actually, I want to thank you very much for recognizing us. And this, I think, this topic is much attached to us. And I was very happy for your invitation. So me coming here and sitting next to Nobat, I think it's an achievement somehow, somewhere. So if these leaders also can go behind and look at Nobat as he's a good leader, he has ideas, and I think he can take KAZO somewhere in the next 10 or 15 years to come. I think it will help our societies to change this mindset of if we are having this individual, he has to be here for his lifetime until he dies, then we get a new leader. So if we change that mindset from the people, I think we are going to get there, but which is difficult.
Mr. Nobat, do you think Ugandans vote for leaders on account of ideas or basing on what they receive from them? Material things?
Like I said, to be a leader, you need to study society. and look at your potential and understand the DNA, I will call it DNA. You know, right now there's a, you know, the kind of leadership is now different. I hear a rumor that someone who has a business, so they go implicating people so they can get support for their business.
Yeah.
So when I say DNA, I don't mean that kind of DNA.
Yeah.
I mean the composition of society. What makes them unique? What makes that society specific, a specific society? That's why some places are called Chira, some places are called KAZO, some places are called Gulu, because of their uniqueness. For example, Mbarara City, the place was Rembrara. But the white man could not say Rembrara, said Mbarara, so it became Mbarara. So it could have been Rita and Jay-Z, like a place that used to kill in Jay-Z. So every society is unique. So if I go to a place that is Rita and Jay-Z, where the rockers die from or something or are killed, I have to be mindful that this society is attacked by locusts, and when they come, they attack their crops and all that. So now, as a leader, I have to devise means of making sure that I protect and make the society peaceful, happy and developmental. So going back to his submission, he said that it is hard, that it can't happen, that it has, you see, it's all mindset. That's why the current wave is about mindset change, because we've come to a realization that it's the mindset that is governing us. I'm a Catholic because I was baptized a Catholic, and they told me for you to qualify to be a Catholic and to be able to go ahead practicing Catholicism, you have to be baptized first, at whichever age it is, whether you're 90 or you're just a baby of 2 months. So in his mind, he thinks it cannot happen. But we have to ask ourselves, if you want to be a leader, whom do you want to lead? Who are the stakeholders of the people, of the electorate? Who are the stakeholders? Now, convince the stakeholders. If I'm a businessman and I'm a cattle keeper, and I know that your kind of ideology is going to come and kill my cattle, I will fight you. I will not make sure that you don't come. I will make sure you don't come into leadership, because it's the leaders that make the decisions. So if you, the problem we have with the young generation, they think things are just going to be handed over to them. Forget, don't think anyone is going to find you in your slumber and hand over leadership to you.
You have to fight for it.
You have to fight for the leadership. You have to present your case. You have to convince the public. Even God convinces you first by solving your problems for you to go and worship him and say, God, be there for me. So who's going to hand over leadership to you if you've not convinced them? And there are so many ways of convincing the stakeholders that you're a capable leader. When you follow the United Kingdom, we are under the British rule right now, because we follow British standards. That's why when you come with American standards, I'm into building construction. The documents that are official have millimeters. Millimeters, that is a British standard. You see how the British are leading us? They are handing over us templates of how we should live our lives, of how we should operate. So when someone who has studied, for example, from Mucunguzi University is under the American standard. That's why you see, even we have international schools, we have Cambridge, we have ACE. Those are all different leadership modes. So the society that you operate in, if you want your child, you come from Chirhura or KAZO. If you want your child to go and work in KAZO, why would you spend your time teaching them Chinese, French? But you as the leader, who is the father to the child, to this home, who is molding it to the future, for the future, you can't mislead your children, whom you, at the end of the day, want to work in KAZO, to tell them to go and study French. What is the French going to help them in KAZO? I studied French when I reached S2. I said, I don't think this language is taking me anywhere. I dropped it. When I joined Chambergo University, I found the same French there. I said, I don't have plans of working with the French, or neither going to France to work in France. So I dropped it. I did it for 1 semester and left it, just for purposes of doing what? Of passing exams. But the French, who managed to manipulate our government to include their language in our curriculum, they knew that if I learn French and I love it, automatically they've pulled me out, they've attracted me, like you were saying, that if you're to be a leader, you need to attract people, convince them. So there are so many ways of convincing, but you need to understand the kind of lead, because leadership, they call it, you can have that calling and you accept it, or you can have a calling and you refuse it. There's a talk show we had, and I remember I said that for you to be successful, you need to love what you're doing. The moment you're doing something that you don't love, you cannot be successful in it, because you not give it your heart, you not give it your time, you not give it your attention, you not market it, you not promote it, you won't cultivate it. So because you're there for the money, that's why if you look at the doctors, there are some doctors that you visit and they don't give you any medicine and you heal. Those are the doctors that love their profession. There are doctors that if you don't pay, they're not going to do anything. Even after paying, you're not going to heal. So there's doing something because you love it, and there's doing something because you have to survive to do it. So stop looking at the leaders that are doing it for survival. Look at the leaders that are doing it because it's their calling, it's their role in life. So we no mwoga go kuhesha, kina ayino mwoga go kulisa, kina no mwoga go kuhinga, kina ayino mwoga go kwebembera. Hadi ndio muhinji. Ko kanye bembera abahinji. Ko ngati nkisiba mu musiri ndukora ki? Ndukiye kanye n'emisiri. You understand?
Yeah.
So basically that is it.
Yeah, remember you are watching KAZO Television. You can go to YouTube and you subscribe to our channel KAZO Television, and we will keep you updated with every program that we are always doing. And all this is brought to you by Global Leadership Empowerment. Like I have told you that my name is Mucunguzi Jonan. I am with Honorable Ndungu Mugarukani and Mr. Simon Mugarukani. Now conclusively, with your conclusive remarks, Mr. Simon, what would you want to say to the people that have been viewing this program?
Thank you once again. In conclusion, I would like to urge young people who have ambitions, who have passion for service, to take up the challenges, because if you're aiming higher, you need to take on challenges that come up with. And if you overcome those challenges, I can assure you that you can hit all your goals. Yeah. And secondly, I want to thank you very much, and my colleague behind the camera, for the invitation. Actually, there is a quote that says that when I was a boy, this was coincidental. When I was a boy, I didn't believe that I didn't know that anybody can become a president, but I have believed. So me being here, I think I'm a president on my own. It's an achievement. So I would like to thank you for recognizing me and inviting me here. So I think we shall be coming according to our series. And I want to thank you very much, Honorable Robert.
It is okay. Even today, I replied on Mao's submission because I have friends who call me Mao.
Anyhow, so it's almost project. Anyhow, so I want to thank you very much for your time, and wish you well.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ndungu. You can say your conclusive remarks to our wonderful viewers. Yeah.
Supplement on my fellow panelists. Let us go back to where it all begins, from parenthood. If your parent, name your child according to who you believe they are, and you want that to be manifested, or name your child according to who you want them to become. That is where the leadership starts. Mugarukani is a good man. He's the president, KAU, Churuhura, KAZO, not even only Churan KAZO. So the time I went to KAU, when they had their inauguration function, I could see the way he's performing. And me, what I appreciated, apart from everything else was his name. His name Mugarukani. It means someone who is going to make sure people reunite. So reuniting is uniting in itself. So don't think that you're a leader, you're the president by mistake. Your father played a role. You need to emulate your parents and also do the same. So there are people that I've met that have changed their names because of their meanings of their names. Some people, their families believed in the old traditional dark practices and they named their kids those names of the gods. And you find that now, because of globalization, they've now become Pentecost or something different religion, and you find them changing their names. So now they've stopped being led by their parents, and now they are leading themselves, and they are making decisions by themselves. So to give the listeners a thinking chance, we can stop here on saying that every parent, every human being, be a leader first before you think of going to lead other people. Thank you very much.
Of course, thank you so much. We meet in our next program, and like we have said, every Sunday we'll always be here. So make sure that you press the notifications button on your YouTube, on our YouTube KAZO television account, such that whenever our program runs on, we will be notifying you. Mucunguzi Jonan is my name. I was with Honorable Ndungu and Mr. Simon Mugarukani. All of us representing Global Leadership Empowerment. We meet in our next program. Bye-bye.